Ito yung Saxman's village. Bali mga original people who live here in Alaska. So meron silang mga totem poles na mga gawa dito. Ito yung pinaka-park nila. Ayan, daming turista dito. Pinaka-gate nila. So, ito yung pinaka-bahay nila dito. Yun ang bahay ng isang Saxman. Yan. Tsaka meron silang mga tinatawag na totem poles. May mga istorya yan bawat pool. At saka ito yung main street nila. Tsaka pati pa ito dedicate sa kanila, binigay sa kanila ng mga sa government. At may school bus dito. Yan. Tsaka ito yung pinakuha nila dito, plaza nila. Yan. Dami kasi mga turista dito. At saka may gift shop dito banda. Yan. Pasok tayo mamaya kung anong nasa loob. Ito lang yung pinaka highlights dito sa Saxman, Ketchikan, Alaska. So ang daming mga original people dito. Meron din sa Sitka, iba din yung mga natibo doon or original people doon. Yan. Yan. Kita natin yan dyan. Yung pool. Yan. Parang nga si Jose Rizal yan, oh. Tingnan mo. Yun ang welcoming pool nila dito. Ganda din tingnan. Pero mas marami pang mga turista dito kaysa taga rito.
Hey, Ryan. Yeah. What's up? Welcome back, guys. How was that? Yeah. You guys enjoy? They meant you work out a lot, huh? A lot of walking? Somebody was, I said marathon. Walk right there. Like plastic, right? Alright guys, our next location is not really that far. It will take us about 15 minutes to get there. It's the Lumberjack Show. It's in the middle of downtown. We'll do it like a little round through the city. In order for us to get back, it's kind of like we have to do like a U-turn sort of. So bear with me. You're gonna say, hey, why is he doing this? You know, there's a reason for everything. Especially for buses like this, guys, everything's got to be one way and you cannot turn. So yeah, it's a really interesting way of doing things. But it's impressive how this totem poles they carved these totem poles, you know, and all the characters that are represented or symbolized in there. You know, the mean is, yeah, but you gotta remember, guys, these people did not have a written language at the time. So that was the way they communicate from one generation to the next, passing their knowledge, telling stories about their ancestors, about the wildlife. They even have shame poles, guys, for people that committed felonies or crimes. And they put it on the center of the village to ridicule that person. So you definitely got to make sure that you did not do something bad and jeopardize your reputation. 1800s, they decided just to call it simply the Russia-America Trading Company. When they left, when the Americans took control in 1867, eventually they decided to translate the name into Alaska rather than Alyeska. It is me. That name is then. So in the Aleutian Islands, we have also the Aleuts and the Aleuti. You know, those are the tribes that live anywhere from the Aleutian Islands all the way to Kodiak, the Aleutian chain. In the western parts of Alaska, you know, where the Bering Sea is, that's mostly the Yupik Eskimo people, or in the far north, those are the Inupiats. What was that?
Gas is through the roof here.
It is very expensive, even though we have oil in Alaska. Everything is expensive here. Nothing is cheap here. Now, one thing I noticed, because I went to Walmart yesterday, the prices are a lot cheaper down in Sitka where I live. It's definitely a lot cheaper. You know, there's some prices that I don't think I spent even $11 on what I bought. And I bought like 5 articles, you know, I was impressed. In Sitka, for $11 you get one thing. 2 of the max. So now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but just so anybody knows, you know, the people that live on the far north of Alaska, they're referred to as, you guys know the name? Eskimos, right. And one of the largest is called the Inuits. Those are normally live in Canada. In Alaska, we call them Native Americans. In Alaska and Canada, they call them First Nations. That's how they call the native groups in there. Now, some of the native groups that live on the far north that are referred to as Eskimos, but in reality, the name is not Eskimo. Eskimo is a generic name that they use for all these tribes that live in those regions. They have their own identity. Like I say, Yupik, Inupiat, Inuit. They call it Eskimos because their way of eating the meat raw, fish or meat. So the name Eskimo means raw meat eater. That's not what it implies. That's what the name means. And for centuries, you know, people have been calling it, oh, the Eskimo people. So yeah, the different tribes, you know, they live on the far Arctic. And I gotta tell you guys that the survival there is not easy. I had the chance to visit Borough, Alaska in 2019. And it's incredibly cold there. And it was in the middle of summer, it was in July, and it was like in the 30s. Really windy. I got to the airport, and I told the people, I called and see if they have a shuttle in the hotel where I stay, right? I said, no, we don't have a shuttle here, all you have to do is walk, it's very close from here. Go outside the airport, you're going to see the sign. And I saw the sign, I said, oh yeah, it's right there. I started walking, it's from here to, let's say, the second blue building, guys. I started walking, and as I walk, I took 2 steps up, and then the wind pushed me back, like 4 steps back. It was very windy. Never seen anything like that. Also, in the outskirts of town, Borough is the northernmost city in the United States. They rename it. They don't call it Borough anymore. The town is known now as Utqiagvik. That's the original name that they use. They're calling them, again, Utqiagvik. So, as in the outskirts of the city, guys, they have hundreds of whales carcasses everywhere. Why is that? Because they practice whale harvesting. They kill them for their meat, for their oil, for their hide, for everything. Most of these tribes, guys, when they were killing whales, most of these Eskimo tribes, they use something called umiaks. They were like really long kayaks. It was sort of like in between a kayak and a canoe. They will go out there with harpoons. But before they go out for their hunt, what they did, they used to put seal blubber in their, you know, in the harpoons. So that way, whenever they locate a whale, they will toss that harpoon, the The harpoon will penetrate the skin of the whale, and then when it melts, that will create buoyancy around the whale. It will be a lot easier for them to drag such a huge animal outside of the water. In my opinion, that's a very ingenious way of hunting. It's an amazing way. So these people have been hunting and fishing and hunting for centuries, either caribou or whales, or it's very impressive how they do that. Side of the law, huh? Alright guys, check this out. On the back came now, guys. See what I'm talking about? We have to do this whole thing, this whole U-turn, in order for us to go back to the lumberjack show. It's the only way to do it. So we have to turn around here on dock number 4. During the middle of the summer, we have up to 5 ships here in town, very easily. The Norwegian, usually always dock at the World Cup, which is where you guys came from. But then, here we have Holland America, we have Royal Caribbean, Carnival, all those big companies, they come here during the summer. Ketchikan is one of the most active towns when it comes to cruise lines in the summer. And it's always one of those stops. No matter what, ships are going to stop in Ketchikan and in Juneau, those two, always. Another town besides Sitka, Juneau that you guys came by. Also, Skagway is a very common place. I don't think it was on your schedule, but Skagway was on the side of the starting point of the gold rush of 1898, where all those stampeders came on the search for gold, obviously into the Yukon, into Canada on the Chilkoot Trail.